for Craig Spector, author of Animals.
Hi, how's everybody doing? It's lonely up here. So anyway, I got a half-hour slot and about a 2-minute trailer and 28 minutes to kill. So does anybody have any questions? A long, long time ago, John Skip and I, my former writing partner, we broke up years ago. We started working on some books that made an impact in the state of modern American horror fiction in the 80s. Animals was the last book that we did in our partnership. It was our 6th novel and our 9th book. And it's a long, strange tale to get a story from a book to published to a movie. And this one's finally coming out this summer, so I'm pretty happy about it. And it's about, I don't know what you can tell from the trailer, it's the story of a honest working class guy who happens to run into a pair of extremely attractive, extremely psychotic, extremely promiscuous, shape-shifting werewolf-type creatures who like to make each other insanely jealous by picking up people in bars and then horribly killing and eating them. So it's really kind of a story about relationships. And I don't know, open to questions, anything anybody wants to say about it? The great cast. The cast is fantastic. I was very, very impressed. Mark Blucas, who you may have seen on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Nikki Acox playing Nora, who's done a lot of horror movies, and Naveen Andrews, who you may have seen on ABC's Lost, which was a real surprise for me to play the part of Vic, who's the main bad guy, and then Eva Amuri, who is actually Susan Sarandon's daughter, who decided to play the part of Jane. And it's interesting to me because when she decided to do it, because one of the only other movies I'd ever seen that tried to address the whole idea of sex and horror in the same kind of way was The Hunger, which came out in, 1982? And that had, as the ingenue, Susan Sarandon. So it was kind of gratifying for me that this many years later, her daughter is kind of playing the same part with about as much nudity, so it was good. And they brought a lot of energy to the performances. I was very, very impressed. I actually had to rewrite all of the dialogue in the movie for Naveen Andrews when he played Vic, because he decided to play it in his natural voice, which is an English accent. And in the book and in the original script, Vic had this kind of like bastard New Orleans sort of drawl. So I had to like go through the entire script and just make it fit for his voice. But he brought a lot of intensity to the part that I was really excited about. And I was actually, I loved seeing and talking with them when we were on the set, talking with Naveen and with Nikki about the kind of dialogue that they had with each other off camera to try to figure out what was at the core of their extremely dysfunctional relationship with each other. And they really kind of brought a lot of history to it and a lot of personal experience. At one point, I asked each of them at one point or another, between takes and offset, I asked Naveen, well, what drew you to this part? And he just looked at me, he's like, I am Vic. So I don't think you can get better than that when you're like...